to Heritage TV Online 24/7. I am BB on one-to-one for Variety on Heritage TV. Today I have a beautiful young lady here with me. Her name is Toyin Morafa, and she's come to Heritage to do a show in regards to crime. Today we'll be talking about what the show is going to be about, so we can learn more. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very
Toyin
much.
Morafa.
Thank you.
Okay. And do you want to tell me what is your job?
I'm an enforcement officer.
Okay.
I enforce a lot of legislations on street.
Okay.
Some of it include highways and late train as well.
Okay. And I understand it's actually your birthday today.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so you're going to start your own show on Heritage TV.
Yes, I am.
To do with crime and in general, knife crime and gangs and what have you. So up to date, what experience have you had in terms of knife, victim aftermath?
I've got a project that I'm setting up.
Okay.
So basically what the organization is called Project Thomas.
Okay.
Voiceless talent. It's for people that maybe they're experiencing, they've been victimized by gangs and other people and feel that they have nowhere to turn to. So the organization is basically to help you, to cope. Should you be involved in any stabbing, in any violence, which includes stabbing, we're here to offer you help, to mentor you, make sure you're okay emotionally. If there's any way that you feel we can help you, with mentoring and other things. We have been providing that for people, a couple of people that were stabbed and wanted to carry on with their lives. Okay,
so when you say you offer help,
yes,
for knife victim, in what aspect? How do you give them help and support?
It depends really. Maybe from when they get out of the hospital, because sometimes a lot of them believe that they don't get enough help from the government once they leave the hospital, especially if they're alive, and maybe long term or short term they're recuperating. So our job is we go down there, we'll speak to you, we'll speak to the family, see where the problems are, see what led to the violence in the first place, why you came under their attention, for you to be stabbed or for you to be shot at. See whether you need skills that will equip you. So rather than you going out there to look for how to revenge, revenge and
that's
stuff,
correct, yeah.
Give you enough skills to make you sit at home to be able to maybe learn something else, maybe to go into fashion, maybe to go back to school. Anything that can take your mind off it. Okay,
but I mean, isn't this a resource that's actually already there in terms of going to school? And there's various of other trainings that are there in terms of helping people with, knife crime and what have you. So why is your organization going to be different?
Absolutely. A lot of the fundings out there, most of it are generally by the government, but the reality of the situation is there's a lot of cuts. Yes. A lot of the fundings are being cut.
That's
a lot of people that they're getting grants, it's not enough. But with our organization, we are for the community, by the community, but it's run by our peers, it's run by parents, it's run by people who voluntarily or financially are there to help all these youths. You see, so we don't really depend on government grants. We're here to build a community that can help these young people, and we're hoping it's a long-term project. You see, so hopefully it will be something that they can turn to at any time. It doesn't matter how long.
So what is your aim and objective for the show itself? What are you looking to achieve by having this show?
Our organization have been set up, well, we're setting it up
As we speak.
Yeah, as we speak, long term. But the aim of the show is to get people, wherever your background, wherever your social area, it doesn't matter where you come from, to come out and help us mentor these children. You have different skills. You can be a parent, you might not have a job, you might be retired, you might be a professional, but you've got skills that will be useful to these children. Now, a lot of them are not aware that they've got their own skills as well, or they can use their skills. A lot of them are not aware, but what it is if they talk to a like-minded person, they'll be able to show them that this is the way. We can pinpoint what your talents are and guide you towards it. So right now, most of the things that we're looking for is mentors, but we're looking for the community to come out.
Okay, so what would you say then is the roots and the cause of the problem in terms of knife crime?
It's a lot of things. I think one thing I say is disillusionment. Most of these children, when they go to school, you know they're so young. They don't understand that people can have two faces. So to them, everybody is their friend. Now you have some friends that will come there. Maybe they're always in designer wears, they're in designer gears. They're always coming to flaunt money. They're using it to entrap you. You might not be aware. You might think that that's my best friend. Then slowly and steadily, the same person will now introduce you to other predators. I don't call them people, I call them predators, because if you're looking at an innocent child and you're hoping to manipulate the person, into helping you run maybe your crime empire, automatically you become a predator. So once they introduce to those predators, before you know what's happening, unknowingly, you can go into gang life. So most of it I've always seen is that you're not even aware you're in a gang until it's too late. By then you've broken bread with them, you've eaten with them, you've gone out with them, you're carrying out all these activities. To you it might be fun, but to them they're using it to generate their own revenue with regards to their empire.
Okay, so what do you say about the fact that some people say class it's not only class has a lot to do with the knife crime, not only a race issue,
I would say yes and no to that. In these days, thanks to social media, we're aware of a lot of difficulties that these youths are facing, and part of it comes with the class. Sometimes you've got schools now these days that it's intermixed, interwoven with different classes. So the people that you might not have met like 5 years ago, you have the opportunity to meet them now. And if they're very influential, you might be influenced into joining the gang. But the main thing that I see is, I think it's more economic status. That is actually what is fueling this gang war. Because no matter how much class you have, if you don't have money, you have to go out and look for it.
So that doesn't that then come into the class status?
In a way, but these days I don't think a lot of people see the class thing.
I mean, even the example that you gave me in terms of saying that you might have a child that want to have now encourage other children to come into their environment in terms of encourage them to go and buy stuff, and they want to be like their peers. That is still has a lot to do with class. That you want to be in that class, and poverty as it is might make one feel to do so.
Which you're right, but like I will still say, I think a lot more of it is, I would term it as economic status. I would not really use the word class, because in this day and age, like I said before, you get a lot of people from different social backgrounds interweaving right now, thanks to school and other leisure activities. But it's not more about the class, it's how much you have, how much you can use to buy your designer wear, how much you can use to be trendy, to be in trend, to have the best phones, You see, so you might have the class, but you might not have the money. So you might then unwittingly somebody might introduce you to that life that'll back up whatever status that you think you should have. But as adults, we all know that it's not just designer wears. That's not what makes you a person. That's not what constitutes you into a person now. It doesn't matter what you wear. It doesn't matter what you do. So those are the things that we're trying to impact to these kids.
Okay, so I mean, the view of some people is that the national press tends to report that it's to do with the black kids when there is a black child is being stabbed. This is usually tends to be more out there than not, and the fact is, in terms of statistic, apparently so that most of these black kids that are killed, it's not just a London problem.
Yes.
It's sold as it is, but it's not. And also, some of these maybe half of these kids are killed outside London.
That's true.
And and it's in the last 40 years apparently, or something like that, that majority of the stabbing have not even, well, I mean, some, maybe half, as not, they're not even black children.
That's true.
So why do we then make it to be as though it's only a black problem when it's not?
And the long and short answer to that one is newspapers want to sell. So the only way they can sell is by sensationalizing all these things. You won't pick, to them, they think you will not pick up the paper if it's about different people, or if it should be related or reported the right way, which is the normal way, to show the number of people that are being killed, what their ethnic, groups are, characteristics. It won't sell. So in their view, which I find very wrong, it's demonizing the black race, the black community, because you're absolutely right, it's not just us.
I mean, not to cut you, it's the same, when I could remember back a few years ago, with the mugging.
Yeah.
I remember when it came out that all black men, something similar to that were thief, were mugging. And, it was hard for me to swallow, because you could just imagine a black man getting on a tube going to work, how he must be feeling. So what can the community, what help can they provide, what can they do to help to resolve this
The biggest help
problem that we have?
The biggest help that I think the community then can do is what we're doing now. Raise as much awareness as possible. It's not only affecting black people, it affects everybody, no matter what your race, class, dynamics are. Like yesterday, I was talking to a colleague of mine. He's white. He was born here, and it was out of the conversation when I told him I was coming here. Mm-hmm. I found out that a couple of years ago, 15, 20 years ago, he was in a gang. Mm-hmm. The only way he came out of it was when he got stabbed. So this has been going on for a long time, but stories like this are not given out. They're not reported.
I know of two young men. One is black and one is white, and I've been there in occasion where they felt the need to go to the shop with knife in their pockets. Yes. I was even offered the knife by the white guy to protect myself, but it brings me to the fact that I believe that mental health issue has a lot to do with the way these people, the mental state of mind. Absolutely. And these two guys that I'm referring to, they also have a mental issue, no matter how minor or how severe it is. And they are getting help from the government, but not a full balanced help. They're getting help in terms of accommodation and some financial help, but for their mental stability, the help is not there. How do you, I mean, I know I try to convince both of them, you know, it's not enough to say, put the knife down.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, I've managed to stop you that one time, that two time. I'm not a hero.
Absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
I hope that I have made a difference for that moment, but I'm not with them all the time. So there's no guarantee that as we speak, they're still not carrying knives to feel that they need to protect themselves when they go out.
That's right.
So how do we now encourage them to come to the right help, to get the help that they need mentally? This is the challenge. Not to cut you, there's an organization called Red Thread. I understand that they are based in King's College Hospital.
Right.
So when a knife victim stays overnight, they somehow build some rapport with them.
Right.
They would offer them, you know, begin with a small thing such as a drink or phone call or what have you, to build a trust relationship. And if they do spend the night at the hospital, then they tend to start to open up to the workers.
Right.
They're not doctors or anything. They're just trained staff
Volunteers.
to yeah, exactly, to help. And they're saying that usually if they spend the night at the hospital, 80% of those victims are able to be helped.
Right.
In terms of housing, you know, education, whatever, you know, sort of help that they might need to help them, you know, to recover. Yeah. And but if they do leave the hospital, then there would only be like 40% of them, chances of them answering their phone call once they've left the hospital.
Right.
So how do we find a way to get these people to open up, to trust the organization in general, to come to them and say this, you know, because mental issue is such that you cannot see it face to face.
That's true. That's right.
And it's something, it's a taboo that people feel that it's an illness that they don't want to be a part of, and it's something that affects each one of us.
That's right.
Even if it's minor.
That's
you know, how do you get young men to accept that there's an issue here and there is help that they can tap into?
Oh, thank you very much for that. The very first thing that I always say is, just like you've acknowledged mental health issues, that a lot of people are having it, but they're afraid to come out and talk about it. One thing I want people to realize too is that predators, they've got a radar to see who a victim is, who's got mental health issues. That's why they zone in on them, because they know that with this person, because they will become like influential in their lives, and they can get them to do like criminal things or something that will make them money. So right now it's talking to our kids, to let our kids realize that if you know you've got a problem, please open up. It doesn't matter how minor it is. Anybody can have problems. A little thing can set someone up for depression. But the thing is, if you don't say anything,
but sometimes the shame, even though it's not your fault.
That's the thing, we have to demystify it. Look at the Me Too movement. Before, when we were talking about sexual violence, a lot of women were ashamed to come out and talk about it. The Me Too movement is demystifying that. That's the same thing we need
to do for
knife crime. We need to be able to do for knife crime. You not picking up the knife doesn't make you a coward. It just makes you want to be able to equip yourself with a different way to sort out the problem. You not picking up the knife doesn't make you a bad person. He's just making you somebody that you know that in the future, if you've got other problems, bigger problems than what you're facing now, at least be able to stand back and deal with it. So these are the things we need to let the youth realize. Now, with regards to the organization you were talking about, the Red Thread, that is a fantastic idea. However, from what we dealt with, our organization, when we were dealing with it, we found out that it's not all hospitals that have got, processes like that. So a lot of the young black men, especially after they've survived and they've come out of the hospital, they feel upset, they're very angry, because they think now, the government has deserted them. Or is it because of my life? You understand? There's no more help for them. There's nothing for them to look forward to. So you get a lot of them very angry, and because they've got enough time on their hands, they and their families will even try and plan revenge. Now, this is where our organization comes in. You can come to us, you can talk to us, you can cry on our shoulders, but mainly, what do you want to do with your life? Like, there was a young man that we were mentoring one time. He wanted to be a fashion designer, but we gave him a different arena. He was working with a DJ until the anger left him, and he felt comfortable enough to go back to school, to go back to higher education, because it was in university when this happened, and he had to take some time off.
This is the issue. Sometimes lack of confidence can make you feel belittled.
Exactly.
Whereby, therefore, you feel that you need to defend yourself.
Absolutely.
Which can now come out in the wrong manners.
Absolutely.
So there's No Knife, Better Life. You heard about them?
Right. Yes, I have.
So how similar is your project going to be in terms of No Knife, Better Life?
My project, if I'm going to explain it properly, my project, like I said, is about the community, for the community. It's about getting our fathers and...
But that's what, sorry to cut you, that's what No Knife, Better Life are. They tend to have various of projects.
Right.
In terms of knife crime. There are various, I'm not going to go in depth into that, education training that they have package for people in the community to come in and, you know, take charge and help to build.
And a lot of communities have that, a lot of councils have that, a lot of local government have that. But we're not dealing with councils, we're not dealing with local government. We believe that it's our responsibility as a community. So we're starting with the parents and carers and teachers in the community. We're hoping that they can mentor, they can volunteer. We want the children to see that these people are willing to give up their time, their space, voluntarily, just to get you on the first stage, on the first rung.
I mean, isn't it that the home is the best place to start training?
It would have been once upon a time, but what it is, you know, because this government unknowingly took a lot of powers away from the parents. When it came to spare the rod, spoil the child, you know, when it came to discipline, there's a level of discipline that you can go to without getting in trouble with the law. Now, what happens is there was a void that was filled. Some parents do not know how to handle the discipline anymore, and there was no education.
I would like to agree with you as a mother myself. Spare the rod and spare the child. You have to agree that there are some degree of abuse when you smack your child to a certain extent.
Absolutely.
And you have to agree then that there is always a solution.
Absolutely.
I mean, I remember I used to tell my daughter to go in her room and just stay there, and she would cry until she finished crying and come out and say, I've finished crying now, mommy. You know, because even smacking her was painful for me, myself.
Absolutely.
You know, I just think there's not a lot of communication in the house.
That's right.
You know, the parents, for me, I believe they're overworking.
Right.
Because of bills and this needs to be done. You know, just so many things, you know, that to me tends to take more priority in terms of how much, let's be honest with each other, how much time do you use to spend with your child in a day?
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. But like I was saying before, no matter how much time you spend with your child, if you do not know how to discipline the person, how to discipline the child without bringing in corporal punishment, there's always going to be a problem. Now, what I always say to these children, to these kids is, if you do not allow your parents inside, if you know it's a crime for them to smack you, it's something that they can go to jail for, why would you go on street and give that power to someone else?
This is where I have a problem.
Right.
Okay? Before they reach that age,
right,
isn't you're supposed to do something before they actually reach that age whereby they're going to school, mixing with peers, and getting all these ideas.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. But there's some exceptions to the rule, and sometimes it's the exceptions that we see out on street that are being victimized. No, with all the best will in the world, you can be the perfect parent. You can be the best mother. You can be the best dad. You can spend all hours, that God gave you with your children. But don't forget, you're not the only primary source of education. They have to go out there. They have to meet all the other children whose parents are probably dysfunctional, whose parents don't think twice, about joining gangs and encouraging their children, whose parents have different ideas to yours. They might become your child's best friend.
Isn't that then the problem?
I think the thing is, which is what we're trying to say, is how to equip a child with the skills before you leave home. Like you said, you're absolutely 100% correct. The parents should be able to let the child know that no matter what problem you're having outside there, these are the skills. You should first of all be able to recognize who's good for you, who is toxic,
bad influence.
Yeah, the people you should not be able to move with, no matter how cunning they come and try to become your friend. That's the first thing. Then the second way is, how do you deal with confrontations, without resorting to violence?
Okay, so isn't it something then that we need to start teaching them from primary school?
Oh yes, you're absolutely right. And most people do. Most parents that I come across, I can tell you that 97% of the parents I come across, I won't say perfect, but they're nearly perfect. They speak to their children from young, then let them know what's right, what's wrong. And in most of these cases, you find out that the child grows up to be happy, to be solid, to be able to choose the right directions in life, just like every parent will pray for. However, every child's psychology is different.
Yes.
What will affect me might be a little thing to you. So you might have children that's out there that they're extra sensitive, and like I say to you, predators, they know who the vulnerables are.
Okay, so I understand what you're saying, and then it makes me come to think about being in care.
Right.
And having to mix children who are damaged,
right,
with children who are coming from maybe a more stable environment.
Absolutely.
And how, is it the teacher's job to know this and then able to offer these children who are already damaged the extra help that they need? Because somebody has to recognize that there is a problem here.
Definitely, you're absolutely right. And once upon a time, I would have said it would have been the teachers' duties. But now, with the state of the country, with what we have right now, even teachers are overworked. They're overstaffed.
Absolutely.
There's too many people. How many children will they be able to look out for? So in this case, we're trying to encourage other students to come out and speak on behalf of people that they think.
So the children are now becoming a mentor to each other.
Which is where they should be able to give voice to the voiceless talents. Because children, you as best friends, you'll be able to realize where the problems are. And if your friend cannot speak to you or speak to a responsible adult out there, if you do it, you're giving the best help to that person at that moment in time. And the only way you can do that is by you yourself being aware of who you are, what talents you have, and what skills you can provide. And like you said, that's the easiest mentoring. Once I can recognize that my neighbor, the Bible says, help your neighbor as yourself, or treat your neighbor as yourself. Once I can recognize that this is the problem my neighbor has, I should be able to let somebody else know. And if they think then it will be our organization. We can provide the confidentiality, we can provide the help, we can provide the treatment, or send you to the place where you can be treated. But while all this is going on, we can still be helping you with your talents, equipping you with skills, so that just in case if anything happens again and there's nobody around to help you, you should be able to depend on yourself.
Able to depend on yourself.
You should be able to make yourself, a warrior and not a victim.
Anything else you want to tell us about your new show?
Yeah, it's mainly, like I said, it's mainly about gang violence.
Mm-hmm.
It's mainly about teen violence. There's a lot of violence out there. These days, a lot of things is escalating the violence.
Mm-hmm.
And the media is not helping, like we said before, because they just politicizing it to sell, to sell the papers or to sell their shows. So mainly what we're out here for is we're trying to garner help from the community. And when I say community, I'm talking about the fireman, I'm talking about the nurse, I'm talking about people with ordinary lives. I'm even talking about people that are staying home. Maybe they know how to knit. Little things that we can show these kids
That we care.
Maybe you have grannies that is looking for people to help, to come and visit them, and in return she can show them how to knit or how to bake, something that will occupy them, that will make them feel worthy, make them feel as part of the community, so that if they're having problems or if they're being preyed on,
They have somewhere to reach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what we're hoping that the show will be like. It will be like information. It will be like somewhere that you can reach us day or night, the awareness, and to seek the help. And if you're able to help as well, if you've got different information, if you've got ideas how to help the kids, how we can set up, like if we have maybe shows, we have different sports, we have different things. That's what I'm hoping that the show will bring.
I still want to discuss a bit more about the mental issue,
Right.
and in terms of the involvement it has with crime
Right.
in general in,
Yeah.
in Britain. Would you agree if I say mental health in the African or black community in general is now gone, higher than what it has been before?
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And it's because a lot of people, especially our ladies, are becoming aware now that we're not superwomen. We can't do it all. We can't have it all. Sometimes we can break down. There'll be too much responsibilities that can make you break down. Back in the days, you were not seen, if you complained about anything, you were seen as lazy. Nobody cared about your mental, your mental awareness or how it was affecting you. But these days, a lot of us are honest and truthful to ourselves to be able to recognize and speak out, like when you're having mental issues. I remember when I suffered from depression. For a long time, I stayed in the house. I was just watching people, I was watching the world go by. Until one day, I had to wake up and say to myself that if you carry on this way, you might just die. Or you might, you might start thinking of suicide. So I got up, I reached out to my friends, and these sisters were the ones that helped me. These sisters are the ones that I'm thanking today. And when I say sisters, they were not just black women. Most of the people that helped me in my life that I will say thanks to today are white as well. When I was suffering, going through racism, they stood up for me. And this is what we're trying to impart.
This is it.
Yes.
It needs to be seen that it's done.
Exactly.
Just because we say Black Lives Matter, we want to talk about our black issue, is because until you are in my shoe,
exactly,
before you can know what I've had to endure.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that I'm special
Absolutely.
than white people or Indian people. I'm saying we've had issues.
Yes.
And that's the bottom line.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. If you like it or not, the fact remain the fact.
Absolutely. We're all humans. Yes.
Other than that, the fact is we were the only race that have been enslaved for so long. And I believe we're healing from that.
Absolutely.
And also the fact that we are a minority in this country.
Absolutely.
So you have to think in a broadness of in terms of fitting in, yes, and belonging.
Yes.
What have we done as black people? What have we created for our children in Britain to make them feel that this is part of them? This is their home as much
as any
especially
other person. Yes.
When all you've known is Britain.
That's true. That's true. And once you've known,
and you still feel unaccepted by some peer, but to make them understand this is just part of life.
That's absolutely.
Even if you are in your own country, you're gonna have some other culture that might not like this culture.
Yes.
You know, so it's just it's human nature to hate on things sometimes, and to learn to work on that, our differences, and get on.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. And like I was saying before, part of the healing I see as black women, or black children, that we need to is understand, like you said, we were the ones that were enslaved, but we're setting out now. We're standing up. It's like a phoenix. We're rising out of the ashes. So we're encompassing other people. We're showing that
empowering.
That's it. We're showing that compassionate side. We're showing how we're fierce. We're bringing out our inner Sasha fierces now, and these are the things we want the communities to see. Once they see that, you're able to build confidence in other people, that you're looking at other women, other cultures, other races, because whether we want to admit it or not, this is multicultural, and you hit the nail on the head. That even if you're in a place, even if it's just full of black people, it's xenophobia.
There's still going to be prejudiceness.
That's it. Look at places like South Africa, where they're having problems with Nigerians, but we're the same color. So sometimes I think we should view the world as grey, and instead see what you can bring.
Yeah.
This is what I have to offer, which is why I'm here. I don't know it all, which is why I'm asking other people for help and support. And I think this is how we should be viewed now, as a black race, black women, and most importantly, as human beings.
Be judged by who you are today, not your past.
That's it. That's the right word.
And I want to go back again on the woman issue.
Right.
What would you say to people who says, back in the days, women had the problem of having children having children.
Right. Yeah.
And now I believe it's not talked as much, because I believe it's not as much issue as it were back in the day.
Right.
Because government have found ways to deal with this problem, to kind of try to curtail. It's not to say it's not still a problem, but now it's not a money making.
That's true.
Scheme. Although I don't believe sincerely that this is why I believe that one of the problem why maybe young women were having children a lot back in the days is due to the lack of support that were in the system. As a young mother back then myself, I know that if you didn't have a child and you went to the government, you wanted to get help. Oh, you haven't got any child, sorry.
There's nothing,
back of the queue, we can't do nothing for you. And now it seems to be like mental health is the new fashion.
Right.
To get help in the system.
That's true.
It's not to say majority of people that have been helped with mental health are not sincere. Yes, they are.
That is true, yes.
And sometimes some people that didn't have mental health problem before might even come to develop that due to the problem that they're having.
Absolutely.
Because, you now become depressed and depression and what have you.
Yes.
How, we can't save the world, but how do we try to balance, and just get people to be involved? And, they say it takes two to have a child and a village to raise the child.
Absolutely, that's true.
I know we're here trying to do that, but how can we make such a big impact whereby I believe that, these children, they don't really know what it means to take a life.
Yes, you're right. To them it's like video games until they get caught from it. You're absolutely right. And life, my job, everything you say, you just hit it right on the head. You've hit it spot on. A lot of them back in the days, and that's part of the problems we're still having now, the issues of children having children, because now that their kids are grown, even their parents still do not know. They didn't.
Well, if you're a child in the first place,
exactly,
and you haven't grown to learn, you haven't learned nothing, you haven't achieved nothing.
Exactly.
It's not to say you're a bad person.
Exactly.
But how can you give to your child what you do not have.
Exactly. You don't have those skills to pass on. And that's what's causing problems now. That's why when children go out there now, they're not able, they fall prey. They become vulnerable. It's not because they're not happy in the homes. Sometimes they have happy homes. But the thing is, like we said, the essential skills that the parents will have passed on, even they are not aware that they don't have it.
This is a problem.
So it's issues like this, it's programs like this, we're hoping that will bring awareness. They'll be able to wake them up, be able to know that you're part of the problem.
Do you believe there should be a program when maybe a young mothers have a child that should be set to help them?
Absolutely. I will go even further. I think some reality shows should be based on that. Should be able to be based on a teenage mother, how difficult it is. These children do not know. They just see films, they see video games, they see all those things. They think it's easy.
I mean, I think you've hit the nail on the head to, on a point there in terms of video game, because you've mentioned that a couple of times now.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
it makes my heart race, because there is a lot of parents out there, yes, you, that are allowing your children to go on this killing police on the game and
absolutely,
running people over and all kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And to them it's fun, but they can still relate this to real life, because they know there's real police in the world.
Absolutely.
You have a car.
Yes.
So why then would they think it's wrong if it's okay to play a game with, and they see blood coming out? It's just.
Absolutely, because a lot of parents, what it is it gets to a state, like you say, a lot are overworked, a lot are not at home. So how compensate for their deficiencies, that's the word I can use, they'll give you what you want, and part of it is the video games. But unfortunately, you're not at home to monitor it.
I'm talking how horrific it is.
Yes.
From 5 years of age, or
Yes.
even maybe even younger.
Yes, especially now that you've got toddlers that have got access to phones. So it's even younger now.
They're like this.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. That's how you get the vulnerable. That's how people weed out, the predators, they weed out vulnerable. Because if you go online, all these interactive programs, you can do it online as well. You get to meet stalkers. You get to meet people with shady ideas. So
isn't that
looking to take advantage of you? So that's a big problem.
Isn't it about love?
Love sometimes is never enough. You need to add more to it. Like a parent now that is thinking, let me balance this. What my children will eat. What will they do? I have to have 2 jobs. I have to have 3 jobs. It's not like the parent doesn't love you. They're actually running after the wrong thing, which are the material possessions. You can
They have to pay their bills.
Exactly. So
it's not cheap in London. They have to pay bills.
Exactly.
If you're earning 15 grand a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is that when you have family?
Yeah, first of all, if you're earning 15 grand a month, I'll say, please introduce me to that job. That's the first thing. But secondly, the thing is, even with the family, like I said...
When you say, please introduce me to that job, it's a lot?
If you're £15,000 a month, still a lot of money. But what I'm saying is, the main thing I'm talking
in London, when the rent for 2-bedroom can just be 15,000 a month.
No,
or
you meant 1,500, not 15,000. That's what, yeah.
1,500. Thank you for your correction. Thank you for your correction.
That's why I say, if you've got a job like that, please introduce me.
Yeah, no, you're quite right.
Jokes apart.
I'm thinking 1,500. Yeah. No, because it's a key issue.
Yes, it is.
It is a key issue.
Absolutely.
You need the financial support.
But the thing is, do not make that one, especially if you know that your children like video games. Do not make it not for you to sit down. You have to be able to watch them. You have to be able to see what sort of games they're looking at. You have to be able to see what the people they're meeting.
How do you balance? This is what I'm saying. When I say if you're making 1,500 a month,
yes,
and you need to top that up,
yes,
to pay the bills,
yes,
shouldn't there be places where these children can go after school, where people are trusted, to take care of their academic,
yes,
and otherwise you know, the health and
Yes.
needs until the parent come home.
Unfortunately, where the problem is, the fundings, a lot of them have been cut. A lot of the fundings are no longer there.
That's
and that's
correct.
why these children are
So
running around.
how do we do something about this issue, the funding?
Just like I'm sacrificing hours now to sit here and make people aware, I believe it gets to a stage parents have to start sacrificing things. You understand? You have to sacrifice a couple of hours so that in future your child will not be a problem to you. The bills will be there. The bills will never end. No matter how many times you pay the bill, you will always use your gas, you always use your electricity. But the only thing is, what about your children? You need to be able to sacrifice something, to be able to see the things they're doing online, especially when it comes to video games as well. Because if you look at America, that's the problem they have when it comes to this gun violence among youth.
Yeah, well, guns is legal in America. I mean, they've tried to compare the fact that last year, you know, they were saying that the crime for knife crime was bigger than New York.
But not anymore.
Well, I mean,
not anymore.
Apparently, well, the year before that in America it was double.
Yes.
And apparently, if we had taken a statistic for January away from that statistic and just kept February and March, then America would have even been more, you know, than us.
Yes.
But, you know, nevertheless, the fact of the matter is we do not have, you know, the majority of the issue that they have over there.
That's
I mean,
true.
God forbid, you know, that they make gun legal over here.
What I'm trying to say is that most of the youths that are going into the schools to kill, you know, their colleagues or to kill their classmates, most of them are glued to video games. So to them, by the time they go there, they desensitize. They've played, like you said, all they've seen is blood and gore. They've played. So to them, they've entered.
It's normal.
Exactly. To them, they
it's
make
acceptable.
it out like it's a game.
Yeah.
Let's see how many I can kill before I get caught or before I get killed as well. Those are the things we're hoping that will not happen over here. Because guns are not legal here, but we've got a high death rate. Because of stabbing, they don't have access to guns, so they go out there and get the knives. And kitchen knives are the quickest to find. You can ban any child, as many as possible under 18s, not to buy knives, you know, in shops. But
or they will always have access.
Exactly.
So really, we need to equip their brain.
Exactly.
To tell them what is going to be the result of my action.
Exactly. I always call something crossroads. You see, with the crossroads, it's just one day. All it takes is a day. Maybe wrong thing happens. You understand? And somebody comes with a suggestion. You're at crossroads. What are you going to do when you get there?
When you say the word crossroad, I'm thinking the crossroad is actually at the point where I'm about to take that knife to go out. That is the crossroad.
No.
No, for me.
No.
The way I'm going to describe it,
No.
you know, to say, look, there's the knife, there's the road, there's me.
No.
Don't take it.
Don't take it, exactly. But crossroads starts even before then. Crossroads starts from if you have problems at home, domestic problems at home. Maybe your dad cannot cope, your dad's an alcoholic, your mom's on drugs. You have the crossroads. Where are you going to go? Are you going to end up normal? Or are you going to follow their footsteps? You've got a crossroad there. Now, if you know there's nobody to help you, you talk to us. We won't offer you up the suggestions. We'll just be able to equip you so that if maybe somebody puts drugs or puts guns or put anything in front of you, you have the strength to look into yourself and go, no.
But why I am still really baffled as to why is knife crime such a fashion in our country. Why? I mean, I don't think it's just a black problem.
No, it's not.
It seems to be sold as though it is.
No, it's not.
You know, because that's what you get in the press.
Yeah.
You know, you only see when the black person, you know, is been stabbed. So you tend to feel that,
no,
you know.
it's just like there's underrepresentation of ladies as well. They think they can't sell their papers. If they're saying, you know, the women victims that have been stabbed, is what will sell the papers, what the tabloid, what it will sell for them. But that's not what we're about. You understand? We're about to make awareness. Let them know that this is an interracial thing. Anybody can pick up a knife.
There's an old neighbor of mine, very pretty young lady.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's still in jail now. She had mental issue for quite a while, but she was still living by herself. And I think a problem stemmed from upbringing. Very well spoken,
Right.
you know. And when I look at it, I just see a loss of life. You know, it's really sad. And eventually she stabbed two guys.
Right.
You know, she stabbed one of the neighbor, and she got caution and what have you.
Right.
And then eventually she stabbed
Somebody
a guy
else.
that was living with her, because she had like 2-bedroom flat, and with the new law, if your kids have grown up and they've left home, you know,
bedroom tax.
and yeah, she stabbed the guy that was living in her property, and the blood was just running through the stairs on the landing, and you know, it was horrifying. I mean, she didn't kill him, thank God, and you know, she ended up going to jail. But the point is, she had, I would say, at least a medium severe mental health,
Right.
you know, problem, and obviously the medication or what have you was not cutting it for her.
Right.
You
Absolutely.
know, whose responsibility is it to take this woman to the right place? Because the doctor, the GP, you know, the GP are aware, the government are aware, because of, you know, the type of benefit that she obviously is on.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, but whose responsibility is it to have taken care of her before she's now just another statistic in the system?
Well, thank you for that. Once upon a time, I would have said social workers. Well, like I keep saying, because of all these fundings and all these cuts, everybody is overworked. A lot of people are falling through the system. So now is the time to start building our community. Like I said, be your neighbor's keeper. If you know anything is going wrong, don't wait for a social worker. Don't wait for the person's parents. Don't wait for the person's, you know, carer. Try and speak out on behalf of the person. That's what we're trying to build now. Because you have so many questions which I cannot answer, because that's not my
area, yeah.
My aim. But we're looking for people. That's what we're looking for.
Their profession
Exactly.
in certain area, and then you bring them together to help.
To be able to help. We'll be able to, you know, like have plans in place. If it has to be care plan, if you have to go to the psychiatrist, if you need to see the GP. But most importantly, no matter how mentally unstable you are, you've still got skills. You've got qualifications. You've got things, essential core things that make you human, that make you know that, okay, if I'm breaking down or I'm having my psychosis, I'm having problems, there's still something that makes me me.
So that makes me think that, do you believe that there should be a sort of a scheme whereby when a GP is made aware that this person has an issue, like a box that you can tick that, okay, where they can just go for a certain help.
Absolutely.
And then we can just tick that box off and say they're fine, or no, they're not fine, they need to get this extra help.
Absolutely.
How do we get the people to take part? How do we get them to know that this choice of knife, even as a woman, is the wrong choice? Absolutely. When they are mentally ill?
Yes. And like you said, predators always smell the vulnerable. That's why I keep insisting we need to be our brother's keepers. I might be more stable than you. If I see someone taking advantage of you, we're providing a platform where you can turn around and cry for help.
Okay, so you basically want to try to bridge that gap.
That's the word.
Okay.
Absolutely. We're trying to set up a platform where it's confidential. You do not have to be scared of your life. It's not like you're snitching on anybody, because you know in the underworld there's nobody more despised.
Well, they say
snitches. So you're not snitching on anyone. You're merely helping the person out by addressing or giving cause, for people to look at you and see that this is what's going on in your life.
They say snitching,
yes, snitching
is now, you know, the new love for your brother, for your sister.
Absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
It's just like everything else in life, that you can look at the bad and look at the good side of it.
Yes.
Everything has bad and good side.
Yes.
So why should I don't want to use it snitching or informing, but trying to get help for somebody who's in trouble, why should that be seen as a wrong thing to do? You know, children, they should be able to have somewhere that they can go to if they know that somebody that they know has a knife.
Absolutely.
Without them worrying about getting in trouble.
That's true.
You know, the young kids and the older children, because sometimes, like you say, it might even be coming from the parents themselves.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, it might be what they've had passed on from another generation that's still going on.
Yes.
But thankfully, today, majority of those elders, they're turning back their ways and they're realizing that this, you know, this is not the best way to go forward.
Yes.
So when are you starting your program on heritage?
As soon as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see your passion for the show and you're so excited.
Oh yes,
I'm so happy about that.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're
and I'm
welcome.
so happy to be working with you.
Thank you so much.
Like I said, the main thing is to create awareness, to let people know that there's a platform out there. Now, whatever help you need, you can always come to us. And it's all about confidentiality. You see, that's the main thing. You will have enough trust. If you have enough trust for us to work with you, we'll be able to identify where you need help. You understand?
Yes.
And see how we can turn ashes, phoenix out of the ashes, like I said before. That's the reason why we're here.
Okay. No Knife Better Life is an organization. They have various of session that they run in their program.
Right.
They do peer educator, bystander courses, lesson plan for secondary school. So would you be doing things in terms of in the way that they're doing training, because they have different events and what have you? Would you be doing that as well?
We might be incorporating some of that in our project right now. But the main thing that we're trying to do, like I said, we're trying to set up like reality shows. We're trying to get competitions, for these children. We're trying to get, most of these kids now, for example, they're interested in fashion wears and accessory. And we're trying to see if we can work with like shoe designers, clothes designers, where we can get to like schools and prisons, get them to learn these skills. They start running competitions. Who can make the best sneakers? Whoever it is, it can be a nationwide thing. Maybe your rivals will be in the
basically you're trying to challenge into what would make them happy.
Exactly.
What the ambition. What they love.
Yes.
They might love.
If you love wearing trainers the most,
find out about how to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you love designer clothes, why not make one? Why should it be someone else's name on the logo? Why can't it be your name?
Well, I was told once when I saw after school, the end of the year school results.
Yes.
And this school had specifically a lot of black kids in it.
Right.
And there was a lot of youths along the line.
Right.
And I remember saying to my daughter, what does this mean? It was alarming. And she said, Mom, it is what it is. A lot of these black kids, they believe that they're not going to make it because they've been told that
they can't make it.
That you're not going to make it.
Except through
a
legal process. But that's where we come in. If you know that you'll be equipped, that you will learn at the end of the day how to make sneakers for yourself, you'll be more geared this education because you want to be able to learn what it means to start up a business, start up a shoe business, the financials, you have to run, the audit, the financial aspects, all those areas. That can increase your interest or generate interest, at least in staying and getting the right education to start a business empire for yourself.
Okay. I'm trying to stay on the Afro-Caribbean lane.
Right.
Because this is Heritage TV for African mainly. because we don't really have that
That's true.
channel. And now things, thank God for online,
It's
is
getting
opening door for
Exactly.
us to have access to do things for ourselves in this country. Because even though I was born in Nigeria, I believe this is my home because this is where I grew up.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yes.
I'm only now watching one Yoruba movie so that I can get more entwined with the language. You know, your home is still your home and all that.
Of course.
You know,
Yes,
so
yeah.
I as a black child growing up in this country, I must say there were a lot of time I felt isolated. I felt misguided. I felt lost, you know,
That's true.
and I just wondered how much of that has changed now. I've been bullied,
That's true.
you know, many times,
That's true.
even for my accent. So
Oh,
now
yeah.
I say whoopee to Nollywood and Afrobeats. I wish we had that back in my days.
That's true.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
I want these children to appreciate that.
That's true.
You know, I want them to be able to explore, because yes, we can't always afford to take them to Africa and
That's true.
have that appreciation.
Yes.
You know, but to me, this is my home. I love Britain.
That's true.
You know, because it's what I know.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, but
Still a
I'm
wonderful
still
country,
the
yeah.
African that I am.
That's true. Absolutely.
And I don't think that there should be a problem to migrate the two together. You know, we need to stop stereotyping ourselves as black people, no matter where you come from.
That's true.
I believe we need to get together
Yeah.
and have an agenda.
That is so true. And this is where I'll take it a step further. And this is what we're trying to. This is exactly what we're trying to do. We want all the, black businesses. We want the positive role models for these kids. We want them to come out and go, look at me. I went through exactly what you're saying just now, but I was able to overcome it.
Yes.
I was able to sacrifice a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Look at me today. Mm-hmm. We want all the, the black businesses. Back at home, we had a lot of people, cobblers. We have people that knew how to do shoes. We have emergency, people that could sew your clothes in an emergency. Mm-hmm. You have people that could do your hair just like that. These are the people that we want to come out. So let these kids see the positive side, not just what we are portrayed as on the media, on the main media.
Maybe for me, all these things you mentioned, I can do.
Yeah.
Maybe because I do have that African background.
Yeah. But we need to push a lot of people, because a lot of people are overworked. A lot of people are self-obsessed. So a lot of people, it's just all about my kids. But with the rate, the violence, and the integration, and everything,
you can't afford to say, I'm special. It can't happen to me. God forbid.
It could happen to
anyone. But it's an open season, isn't it?
Exactly. Anybody could just look at you with envy and decide, okay, I don't want you here. You can step on the wrong toes.
Oh, happy for a lot of that growing up. Because growing up as an African child in a community where back then the Caribbean detest African,
Exactly.
I was bullied just for being African.
Oh, yeah, even till now. Because my job allows me, I speak with a lot of people from different races, different backgrounds, even from outside the country as tourists. You get people that still try to bully you. You get people that try to bully you for your accent, try to bully you because you're there. People that think you're not worthy to be anything. But I take no offense, because I've been able to equip myself, and other people have been able to help me in my journey to stand up for myself.
To be self-confident.
Exactly, I'm a queen.
It's a very important skill to have.
Exactly. Nothing you can say can affect me, because I will not allow you to judge how I feel.
Yes.
I will not give you that power.
Satisfaction.
Exactly. Yes. That's what we're trying to let these kids see. No life is problem free. Everybody have problems. There are days you've got problems that you think to yourself, I can't cope. What can I do? You just want to shut the door and lock yourself in the room, and just wish the problems
We want to encourage them not to do that.
Not to do that. Or even if you're going to do that, you have time to have breaks. You should be able to take out, breaks and acknowledge you have problems. And if you cannot handle it, please speak to someone. Which is why our fathers and mothers need to come out. They need to see the positive role models, not just being stabbed. being stabbed on the news. They need to see people come and go, this is how I made it. You know, this is what I went through. People try to bully me, they call me names, they said I'll never succeed. But look at where I am today. On social media, the beauty about my social media is most of the people that I involve myself with, most of the social sites, even Facebook and all the other places, I make sure that I surround myself with positive people, people with positive self-images, people even when they're going through problems, they're able to still help you, encourage you, know that we're family. That's what I try to surround myself with.
It's very important, isn't it?
Extremely important. Because when it comes to my job, when it comes to my personal life, when it comes to everything, a lot of things are on social media now. I've always made that self-conscious decision to make sure that you're positive. If you're negative, Nancy, I don't want you on my page. So those are the things we need to let these kids know. So even if they're having all this, you know, this new age now, twerking, everybody's doing all those things. No, that's not the skills we need.
I mean, it's okay to have fun, you know, but
some people have made it like they've made it like
I can appreciate that, but I don't have time to watch those things.
Well, you understand what I'm saying?
I absolutely. I mean, everybody's entitled to.
Yeah, but the thing is, he how do you put it? He's now put, especially ladies, he's putting in this. In how
you're basically trying to say the ladies are degrading themselves and bringing their children into that at the same time.
Exactly. You see 3-year or 4-year-old kids twerking. That's not how you.
I mean, I suppose it's one thing if you're having fun in the house in your own private comfort and you're having fun with your children.
Exactly.
But for you, it's when they take it to the extent of not putting that in
the next level when they
online
it's
social media.
It's giving your kids, whether you're aware of it or not, a negative stereotype. That's not what a woman should be. A woman should have brains,
respect.
That's it, and beauty.
Yeah.
Now, if you can twerk, it'll be an advantage. It'll be something that is an advantage. It's something that even if you do online, because you've shown yourself for who you are, people know you're having fun. But a lot of the ladies now, they've confused it. They think, oh, it makes me a slay queen. So because of that, I'm not ready to invest in my own intelligence.
Do you know what? I am not I'm not a specialist when it comes to talking about the different culture. From what you're saying, just kind of came to my head in terms of Caribbean culture. Because that's what it is. It's just a culture.
It is a culture. Absolutely.
You know.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people misconstrued it for sexual, as in, okay, there are some people that do take it to an extent that is overwhelming, that, you know, you don't need to be a part of. But for majority, dressing sexy is a Caribbean culture.
Yes.
You know, and I think people need to understand that and respect it for what it is.
Absolutely. Exactly.
You know, and not degrade.
Exactly.
That's what they've built for their culture.
Yeah, because they're able to handle it. Because from youth, right from when they were young, they know when this is culture, this one is for the dance hall. Yes, this one is for the real life.
Absolutely.
But now we're crossing over.
We need to now educate ourselves together and respect our different culture.
Absolutely.
This is the problem. So I believe that maybe somebody who's African, because they're wearing the head tie and everything, Iran Buba and everything is covered up. So they believe they're more cultured than the Caribbean who's wearing a hot pan and, you know, they skimp it up. And
that we say is not true, because you might be covered from top to toe.
Doesn't mean that you're a saint.
And you might be in skimpies every day, and you might be the best person out there. The main thing is just identifying who you are, knowing this is who you are, knowing that I am me, so that if you have any challenges, you'll be able to, number one, recognize it, and number two, find solutions for it, which will not necessarily be about violence.
Isn't it the same goes for the dressing for streetwear? I mean, I'm a fashion designer, I'm a tailor.
And you look absolutely beautiful.
Thank you so much. So do you. And, you know, they have a code of gang dressing apparently.
Yes.
But it's streetwear. Yes. That's what it was taught to me when I was in fashion
Yes.
school.
Yes.
Streetwear.
The hoods, the
You know,
hoodies, yeah.
that's all it is.
Yes. Yes.
But you can be victimized
Yes. Absolutely.
as a black person mainly
Yeah.
for having this gear.
Absolutely.
And this can be very upsetting for the young men.
Yes.
I can imagine.
Yes.
So how do we take away this stereotype from people's mind and educate each other?
I think the best way we can do that is educating the young men themselves, making them see that sometimes if you're in groups of 15, even without your fashion wares, you look intimidating as it is. Now I'm going to tell you something that is very funny. When I was working in Haringey, as a civil enforcement officer, I noticed that in that part of that area, the young men there were the most polite that I've ever come across.
Even though they were wearing hood and
Even though they were wearing hoodies.
sneakers.
They were always, they knew how to say their please, how to say their thank you. They were very respectful. Are you alright, miss? There's been a couple of, things that has happened to me on streets where they haven't gotten involved, but they've been around to make sure that I'm okay.
You're safe.
But the thing is, even I have been a victim of that. You see 15 of them together, automatically
You panic.
You panic. So it's us now to educate the black men, to show the reason why people are panicking, why this image is not good for you, but more importantly, let's build a more positive self-image for you guys, so that whether you're in hoodies or whether you're in office wears, even if you're together, you will not inspire that much fear. People will be able
Is
to
it them inspiring the fear, or is it the people? You said that you been in that position where you felt intimidated because there's a group of guys.
Yeah.
But that wasn't them. That was you, as far as how I can see. You had the perceptive in your mind that just because that there's a possibility.
But
there's a possibility when you leave your house, you can get run over, my sister.
If you're seeing 15 boys that have got saggy,
it doesn't mean anything.
I understand that. It's the perception.
Yeah, well, this is what we need to work on.
This is
our perception, other people's perception.
But mainly their perception as well, because you might not be doing anything bad, but automatically when people see you, what is it about you that makes people see you?
That's not their. I don't believe that's their problem. It's not their fault.
If I see
spread awareness, they need to be aware that this is what people are thinking, so that they can be more sensitive. Not to change, just be more sensitive.
If I see a 15-year-old,
kids are kids.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's why
there might be 15 of them with their hoods, sneakers, whatever, and then they're just messing about around and just. That's what kids do.
Well, that's what we come back to. That's why I was saying that it's up to the parents when they're growing up. They have to equip them, make them aware, train them from home. If I see you in your saggy jeans and I see you with hood and I see you with all this what's it called shit and you're there yelling and shouting, I've been there. It does inspire fear. Let's be real about it. Maybe now we're too politically correct sometimes, which is why when these kids feel they're being stigmatized, we just say, okay, yeah, maybe, it's because of the college, because of this issue. No, they come across as intimidating. I've been there. Now they might be the nicest of people, but if you see 15 kids in shirts, then
I think that if that's the case, for me personally, I think it's our perception that needs to be looked at.
You're right on that one.
I don't agree that trousers should be all the way down here.
Yeah.
But you've got to remember, you got these stars that they're supposed to be role model, even though some of them refuse to claim that job.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just an artist.
Yeah.
I'm just doing me.
We're trying to turn them away from there.
You can't. What we need to do is to say, okay, this is what it is, but it doesn't mean that you need to be that.
Yes.
If you want to be that, then you need to wait. You're man enough to make that decision.
Absolutely.
So I don't agree that trousers should be there. Yeah. I don't also agree that I need to judge you because you're wearing your trousers like that, because I don't want to say this having to sound like I'm some hooligan or something.
No,
But I
exactly.
grew up
Yeah.
around people who grew up on the street.
Yeah, but
Because I like to be humble.
if I can cut you off on that one, those people that you grew up with at that time, that no matter how strict they were, I would say majority of them went into like gang war. They
No,
were
no, no,
just
no, no,
doing
no,
it
no,
for
no.
weird.
As a business
Yes.
in the past, I've had to deal with people like this.
Right.
Before, I wouldn't even say hello. Okay,
Yes.
a lot of them, the generation,
Yes. Yes, they do.
you know, out of the
It doesn't make
needs
them bad
for
people
material things that.
and their family. Yes.
So it's nice to enjoy yourself.
Oh, I'm every minute of it.
And
Thank you
I hope you have a
very much.
really lovely birthday
Oh,
today
thank
as
you very
well.
much. You're
And
one of my
I'm looking
best.
forward to seeing your show
Oh, thank you.
when it starts to air. And I wish you all the best. This is BB on
Thank you very
Heritage
much.
TV Online 24/7. Please join us again very soon. And make sure you take care of yourself. Take care. Bye for now.